Today, we're going to be talking about the 5 different ways that you can actually fund your trust. Okay. And I'm not going to give you the traditional ones either, because the traditional ones is what everybody else is doing. And I want to go ahead and show you what the wealthy, the ultra wealthy are doing and how they're becoming wealthy at this day and age. So let me go ahead and get everyone that's on Instagram, that's on Facebook Live. Make sure everybody's on here. Let me see. Make sure we're live. Okay, we're live on Facebook. And we are about to be live on Instagram. There we go. Now we live on Facebook and on Instagram. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, let me see if I can go live on TikTok. I've never gone live on TikTok before. Oh, it works. Great. All right, cool. So yeah, in today's video, y'all, I'm going to be showing you exactly how the 5 ways on exactly how to fund your trust. And I'm not talking about credit. I'm not talking about personal credit, repairing your credit, none of these things that most people talk about when it comes to getting your actual, your trust situated. I'm talking about really getting y'all funded the way that y'all really want to be funded. All right. So let's get right into it. I'm not even gonna waste any time. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. If you're on Instagram, or if you're on TikTok, if you're on Facebook, or let's say if you can't see my screen, I advise you to either go on YouTube or for you to go on a different platform, because I'm about to really like write this down and show y'all visually, because I'm a visual learner. So I'm about to go ahead and go crazy real quick. Okay. So here are the 5 different ways for you to fund your trust. Okay. Here are the 5 different ways for you to fund your trust. All right. So the first way is debt. Now, we've seen how debt works. Like I said, this is where it comes to personal credit, credit repair, getting the personal funding, getting the business funding. But I'm talking about taking it to a whole nother level. I'm talking family funding. If you all have never heard of family funding is pretty much the way where you, like, let's say you have a bad credit, but then your grandmother has good credit. Pretty much, a family funding is leveraging someone else's positive business assets and getting funding through their operating agreement in LLC. That's what a that's what a family funding is. So I'm gonna give you an example. You have bad credit, you have a 500, your grandmother has a 600, right? I'm sorry, an 800, right? So you got a 500, your grandmother has an 800. She has a business. She's gotten funding in her business already before. How that would work is you would be placed on the operating agreement as one of the shareholders, and then you're going to have your grandmother go get business funding, and then you're going to that business funding, because you're also on the operating agreement, you also get business funding and share in on the action, right? So she gets 100,000, you also get 100,000, or you split it, right? Now picture if you have 4 family members, right? So let me give you an example, right? If you have 4 family members, right? You got you got Gma, you got Gpa, and then you got, let's say you got a brother, right? How this works is you'd get, let's say for example, you get 50,000 on the Gma, you'd get 50,000 on the Gpa, on grandpa, and then you get 50,000 from your brother. So that made you 150,000. Now, where does the family funding come in? Yes, we've leveraged 150. We've gotten 150,000 from your family members, but now your family members can run the exact same play as you did. So now your brother could be on your grandmother's and on the grandfather's and with you, and then the grandmother can do the same thing and be on. It's an endless cycle of funding. So you have 4 people. That 150,000 times 4 has now turned into 600,000. That's called family funding, right? And so you're leveraging someone else's operating agreement and success when it comes to their business credit, and now they have gotten more funding. Okay, that's part of debt. Now, this is just one aspect of debt, right? The other part, the other ways that you can fund is VCs, VC funding. VC funding means venture capitalists. You all have probably heard of this at least some way, shape, or form in like a movie or something, right? Can't even spell. So venture capitalist is pretty much someone else funding your company for you, okay, or you requesting funding from a business, and then they're pretty much giving you money for your business. So let's say this is, I want to understand, this is not your GoFundMe. This is not GoFundMe, okay? This is not GoFundMe. I'm gonna exit this out. This is not GoFundMe. This is you going to a business and you're asking them for 2.5 million, and then they're going to vet your business. They're going to say, hey, this is a good decision, or hey, this is not a good decision. Their job, their primary job is to give out money to businesses, is to pretty much fund businesses in exchange for equity. That's all it is, right? They're going to give you 2.5 million in exchange for equity, for a percentage of your business. So if you had 100%, now guess what? Now you probably got like 20% or 40% or only 60%, right? Depending on, of course, the business, right? So when I tell you that VC funds can be very lucrative, it can be very lucrative. Okay. So that's one way to fund your actual trust. Okay. Another way to fund your trust is real estate. I mean, I don't know if I got to go really, really in depth when it comes to real estate, but let's talk about it, right? So when it comes to real estate, how this works is you're going to have two types of LLCs. You're going to have an operating LLC. I'm gonna put this as OC, operating LLC, and then you're going to have a holding company LLC. Okay, they're both going to be single member LLCs. Okay, both going to be single member LLCs. I don't know why I can't spell today. All right. And so the operating LLC's job is to actually run the real estate business. That's the job of the operating. This is to actually run the business. The holding company's job is just to hold the actual property. It's not doing anything but holding property and paying the rent or the mortgage or whatever, right? That's the only job. It only has two jobs: property and paying the rent. Okay. And so what's happening here with this real estate play, right? Of course, you're getting more units. So a lot of people, what you'll see them do, the wealthy, is you'll see them buying multiple types of units, right? They don't buy individuals. They'll buy hundreds at a time or thousands at a time. Now that, of course, an average person just does not have the capacity to just buy hundreds of units like that, right? So obviously, I would start with one. Maybe do the FCRA, right? And get you and really house hack. Get you a house. You get you a triplex, duplex, fourplex. Live in one of them. Rent out the three. House hack it. Have your other three apartments. Then be able to pay for your current rent. So now you're living rent free, right? And so now you have not only structured everything correctly, but now you're actually living rent free. And then another great thing is this thing called depreciation. Because you have real estate depreciates sometimes in value, right? So you can write off the depreciation of the actual property. I'm not referring to capital gains, okay? So this is different if your property was worth 300,000 and now it's worth 1 million. That's something totally different. I'm talking depreciation of the actual property itself. And so you can write that off. So if you made $300,000 and your real estate was depreciated of $300,000, then you pay zero in taxes. Okay? And so this is really how it works. This is how it works. So the next thing, right? We're talking about hedge funds. This is usually for, how do I say this? This is usually for like investments. So this is like your forex traders, this is like your stock traders, this is like your investors. This is where all these people fall into play. Okay, all these people go into this category, right? And so what you're doing is you're creating an entire ecosystem of funding opportunities and cash flow opportunities, right? You don't want to just stay at the job you're in and just be comfortable there. You actually want to get things done. So the hedge fund's job is very simple. You have people, right? You have people that trade for you, and then they get a percentage, right? The people get a percentage, and you get even in higher percentage. You get a higher percentage, right? So that's pretty much hedge funds in a very, very high level way of doing things. Okay, very, very high level. Another thing, right? Because we're obviously trying to fund you here. The last thing is PE funds. This is another way to fund your trust, is get into the private equity private equity business. For people that are unfamiliar with private equity, that's pretty much when you start buying businesses instead of you just starting one. Look, y'all, a lot of y'all have goals of hitting $10,000 a month. But like, why would you want to start from scratch to and work your way to 10,000 when you could just buy a business that's already making $10,000 a month in cash flow? It doesn't make sense, right? So I'm gonna harbor on this for the moment because this is the private equity is like one of my favorite ones. And so I'd say like private equity, debt, hedge funds are probably my go-to. So I'm gonna break down private equity real quick, right? So when it comes to private equity, how you kind of want to think about this is you're gonna buy a business that's making $20,000 a month. Your job is to have one of that 10,000 pay for yourself. That can be your payroll, and then 10,000 reinvest back into your business, right? That's what this is. So you got 10,000 going ahead and paying expenses, taking care of, you know, whatever when it comes to the business, reinvesting back into the business, and then you got 10,000 that's for yourself to actually make money. I mean, for yourself to actually do what you need to do on a personal basis because you got bills, right? I believe there's only two things that's passive in this world, y'all. The first thing is the S&P 500, and the second thing is bills. That's the two things that's passive in this world. All right, bills and what was the other one? Bills, and I can't even remember the other one that I said, right? But the point is that you want to make sure that your bills is taken care of. So you got to pay yourself. And this increases your lifestyle. This makes you take care of the family. This is why we aim for 20,000. Because this is where you're able to take care of your family. This is the dream lifestyle that you want to create. So you're going to go to places. There's a beautiful website you can go to actually, buy businesses. It is called bizbuysell.com. You can go to bizbuysell.com and you can look up businesses to buy. Right? Thank you, SPY. Thank you. I appreciate that. S&P 500. Right? So you can go to bizbuysell.com and you can actually 100% buy a business just from the site. Okay? Just from the site. Now, here's the key thing. Before you go and buy a business, the key thing you want to do is you need to understand what type of business that you want to actually buy. Right? Is it service based? Is it e-commerce? Right? Is it brick and mortar? Right? Are you trying to open up a physical location? Right? Once you identify the type, and there's multiple types, you can just do your research, right? Once you identify the type of business that you actually want to start, from there, you now want to go ahead And what's the other one that I was just thinking about on the top of my head? Um, oh my God, I just had it. Oh, you want to go ahead and let's put this up here. Actually, I got it written down. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, here we go. I remember. You want to then identify what type of industry you want to be in, right? So do you want to be in the franchise business, or do you want to be in like the private business? Now, to give a definition of what private equity means. Private equity means that you're buying businesses that are private. So Apple, uh Amazon, all these businesses that you hear of, they are public businesses, which means that they are actually C corps, C corporations. C corporations is the only corporation that allows you to do the boardroom where you have multiple people that have a say so in the business. You can't do that with any other entity. Okay, you can't do that with any other entity. So Apple, Amazon, all these other businesses, they all have a C corp. Now the key thing is they're public. So we're creating private businesses. That our goal is to buy private businesses. So these are going to be like your S corps, your LLCs. Most they should be an S corp, right? That's the type of businesses that you're going to be buying because of course an S corp you have to be making on an annual basis. On an annual basis, you want to your private business should be making $50,000 a year net to be classified as an S corp. Okay. So when you're buying a business, you're 9 times out of 10 going to be you're going to be buying a business that is an S corp because your goal is to make $20,000 a month, right? Which is $240,000 a year, right? So you want to pick the type of industry you're going to be in. Are you going to be in the franchise business? Are you going to go like Chick-fil-A route, right? Are you trying to do Chick-fil-A? You trying to do Steak and Shake? You know what I'm saying? All these places you just need, and a franchise is where they already have the model that works. You just buy into the model, and it includes the real estate, right? So if you if you put $10,000 down for Chick-fil-A, even though with Chick-fil-A and Steak and Shake, with Steak and Shake, you have to be in the restaurant industry already. I don't think you need to in Chick-fil-A. I'm not totally sure, but the point is that you got $10,000, you invested into the company, they give you everything that you need. They train you, you get employees, all that. That's the money you need in order to actually run the business smoothly. And an average business that's Chick-fil-A makes between, I believe it starts at $138,000 is how much a Chick-fil-A business makes every single year on the low end. Okay. So franchise is where you buy an existing business, but also buy an existing model. A private business is where you buy a private business, like a small business, right? And then from there, that small business, you then also get the cash flow. So if that business is making $20,000 a month, you are now acquiring that $20,000 a month. You now, as of tomorrow, as soon as you buy the business, as of tomorrow, you make $20,000 a month. And then this is where this is where all of these things that I talked about, the 5 different ways that you fund a business, all can play into this, all can like coincide and commingle together, right? So like, let's say you buy a private business and you're now making $20,000 a month as of tomorrow. Now you can go run the debt play, right? Now you can go, instead of leveraging your personal credit score and getting a private grantor to go ahead and get you business funding, you don't need to leverage your personal credit anymore. You can go ahead and even you don't even got to leverage business credit anymore. You can go ahead and leverage something called merchant funding. Merchant funding means that you're going to go to the bank. It's like a hard money loan. You're going to go to the bank, and this is where you get funding based off the income that you make from your business. This isn't funding that's based off credit. This is funding based off the income. So if you make $240,000 a year, if you go to the bank, they will match you on that. They will give you another $240,000 or more because you now have the income to prove it. That's literally what it is. You get what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all. This is literally what it is. So you can leverage one side of the spectrum of buying businesses, and then at the end you can tag along and get more funding. Then guess what? That funding that you get, you can then reinvest more into the business, right? And now you can go ahead and, let's say you were making $20,000 when you bought the business. Let's say you got $240,000 from the bank. You can now use some of that money to market more of your business. Think about that. Or because when it comes to another piece, when it comes to buying a business, right? When it comes to buying a business, of course, when you're buying businesses, you're buying it from another person. So we only target people when it comes to buying businesses. We only target people who are ready to retire. Okay, who are ready to retire, and they're willing to do something called seller financing. Okay, seller's financing pretty much means that the CEO is going to take a loan out on their business, and they're going to pay you to buy the business. Like, they're giving you the money to buy the business instead of you needing to go find the money somewhere else, or leverage credit to buy the business, or get cash to buy the business. No, you can go ahead and have the business owner itself take a loan out of the business and give it and pay you to buy it. And you're going to pay the actual CEO, the original founder of the business, royalties every single year. So guess what you can do? Let's say the business was 240,000. There is something, when it comes to buying businesses, there is something called multiples. Okay. This depends on the industry, but multiples pretty much mean that, let's say your business is making $240,000 a year. If I'm in the service-based business, usually my valuation, my net worth of that business is going to be worth 3 times that, right? So that means that they're going to try to sell the business for 750,000, because that is the valuation of the worth. That's pretty much the worth of the company. In a sense, that's pretty much the worth of the company, right? So think about this. The CEO, because they're ready to give the business up. They're tired. They want to spend more time with their family. They're old. If you guys are not aware, baby boomers are the ones that's trying to sell their businesses the most, right? Do you get what I'm saying? So what you all want to do is you want to go ahead and get the business owner to take a loan out on the business. Take whatever the deposit is, because there's always a deposit, right? So if it's 750,000, usually it's a 20% deposit, right? 20% of 750,000. I don't even know why I'm trying to do the math right now. That's 150,000, right? 150,000 is the deposit. He's gonna take out 150,000, and he's gonna borrow that against his business, and he's gonna give that to you. He's going to give it to you. That's what he's going to do, right? Now that he's given the money to you, guess what you did? You now make $240,000. Remember, he gave you 150,000. He borrowed 150,000 from the business and gave it to you. And he's saying that you got to give, let's say, 10 to 20% every year, right? On an annual basis. But guess what? If we took out remember that loan I told you about? If we make $20,000 in a month, and we just took out this 240,000, we can use this 240,000 and pay the man off ASAP. Pay the man off right now, like yesterday. So that leaves us, you get what I'm saying? What I believe, like 90,000 left. That 90,000, we can reinvest that 90,000 into the business, and now that 20,000 a month, we can now turn that into, let's say, being conservative, maybe $50,000 a month, because we may be running ads, we may be doing podcasts, we may be doing other marketing strategies that will grow the business. He's paid off. We're now reinvesting back into the business, and guess what? We make $20,000 a month at the bare minimum, so we can easily pay this off in a year. We can pay the debt off in a year. Guaranteed, because we make guaranteed money every single month. You're not going to buy a business that's not going to cash flow guaranteed every single month. You want a business that's guaranteeing cash flow every single month, right? And so this is really the way that, y'all, when it comes to structuring your trusts, when it comes to structuring how exactly to build wealth, generational wealth, this is what people are doing. The wealthy families are doing this blueprint. I want y'all to understand, credit repair is the poor man's game. I really want y'all to understand. Credit repair is the poor man's game. I'm like, it's sad, right? Because when you think of any wealthy person, have they ever used credit? No. Elon Musk didn't use credit to buy Twitter. He leveraged his shares from his private equity companies to buy the business. From a business he bought, he leveraged the shares of a business he bought to buy another business. They're in this game, y'all. They're in this game. This is what you would call a family office. They're in this game right here. They're not in the credit game. Credit game is the poor man's game. It's to keep y'all in place. I'm not saying you don't need to leverage credit. That's not what I'm saying. Right? I'm just saying that there are seasons in your life that you have to be able to evolve from just what people are marketing to you. Right? Credit repair. So, like, for example, you got Dave Ramsey. I think these are also people. This is also a person that, mind you, I believe in what he got going on, Dave Ramsey, but it's only for a certain season. Wealthy people destroy, demolish, abuse debt. They're debt abusers. They're debt abusers. They abuse the mess out of debt. Name one wealthy person that does not have debt. There's not one wealthy person that has not leveraged debt. So to say it for Dave Ramsey, I think Dave Ramsey's great if you're just trying to become a middle-class person and you're trying to get out of debt, right? If you're just trying to get out of debt and become middle-class, I think that's great. But if you're trying to build generational wealth, then you need to leverage the game different, because people that are passing down wealth have debt. I'm just being honest. So the credit repair game is great if you're terrible with money. If you have money, if you have money problems, you don't know how to manage your money, you don't know how to deal with money, like Dave Ramsey and credit repair, do that. I'd say that's like your first step. Get your credit together, get your habits together, because I want y'all to understand that your credit is based off of the habits that you have or the relationship that you have with money. That's all credit is. It's based off the relationship that you have with money. If you have terrible relationship with money, then you're going to have a bad credit repair. A bad credit score and a bad credit report, right? If you're in massive debt, it's because your relationship you have with money is different than a person that's extremely wealthy. They don't have a bad relationship with money. I want y'all to understand, your money problems that's going on right now is your choice. The money problems that y'all have is a choice. I'm gonna explain, because that could be controversial. A lot of people could be like, you know what? Nah, like, I'm working a job. I really don't have any money. I really can't find a new job, or I'm stuck in my new job, or I can't find a way to make more money. Then the issue is you have a skill set issue. I had to learn this myself, right? If you feel as though you are not able to make enough money, then that means you have a skill set issue. That means your skill set is not allowing you to make more money. That's really what it is. I would highly suggest everyone become a salesperson. Everyone learn high ticket sales. You will make more money. You will make $1,000 an hour if you learn high ticket sales. You don't have to sell your own business. I would suggest you work for another company as a high ticket closer, or even as an appointment setter if you're a beginner, and then grow to a high ticket closer, because an appointment setter can make $5,000 to $8,000, maybe sometimes $10,000, depending on the business, per month. But an average number, an average healthy number, is between $5,000 and $8,000 a month. But you want to know what that is? That's a skill set. Or like forex trading. I know forex trade. I trade forex. I'm in a trade right now. I'm in AUD USD right now in a buy. Right? I learned a skill set that allows me to make thousands of dollars a month. Right? So you have to learn different skill set. You have a skill set issue if you have money problems. Here's a formula that I want you all to understand. And this is what the wealthy, like, it's very, very crazy how the wealthy think, and they always have formulas to their success. I've studied over 100 plus wealthy families, read all of the books. Okay. There is a formula that I did not create this formula. Okay. I got this actually from Myron Golden, but it was so true. It was so true, y'all. It was so true. And we're going to do it like this. Okay. This is the formula. This is the formula. Okay. On how to become an asset. Okay. It's skill set times mindset plus tool set equals asset. So if you want to become an asset to someone's life, or you want to become an asset in your business, or you want your business to become an asset, or you want generational wealth, or you want to build assets within your trust or within generational wealth, then you have to do these three things. You have to learn a new skill set, increase your skill set. If you're working at a job, it's very simple. If you're working at a job and you make $15 an hour, $15 an hour times, let's say 160 hours in a month, full time, that's about $2,400 a month, right? That means you have a skill set issue. So how do we increase our skill set? I'm going to give you an example as a server, because that's the money I was making as a server when I was working. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example of this. Let's say this is a server. You're making $2,400 as a server. So the way that you're going to do that is I'm going to find a way to become a bartender. A bartender in some locations make between $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Why? Because the skill set, this depends on the location, but the skill set, you can make between $5,000 to $10,000 a month as a bartender. So that means you got to ask your manager, hey, what do I need to do every single day for me to be able to become a bartender? I'm willing to do whatever it takes, and I just want some guidance on how exactly I can do that. And they're going to give you guidance because they see the effort, right? Boom, there you go. You can make 5,000 just from being a bartender. And I'm telling you, this is a real life example, by the way. This is what I did. Okay. Once you do that, then guess what? I learned high ticket sales. High ticket sales has allowed me to make $100,000 a month. $100,000 a month. Okay. We've made $100,000 a month. We've made $100,000 in a month, 3 times. $100,000 in a month 3 times. Now, but we consistently make between $10,000 and $50,000 a month, depending on how active I want to be that month, right? And if you all don't believe me, I'm definitely a person that likes to show receipts. Actually, I don't even think I have Stripe on this phone. It's on that phone. I was gonna show you my Stripe account, but I can't even give you access because I'm on live with my other phone that has the Stripe information, right? But what I'll do, I think this will be even better. I'm gonna create a website that's gonna be called the Family Business, or maybe the BlackRockefellers.com. I don't know the websites that's gonna be there, but it's gonna be /proof. I'm going to create a website where you can see all the proof, how much money I make per month, what I've spent it on, how exactly I've used it. So you all can see that this is no game. Okay. I'm not playing no games. But the point is that we've now gone from $2,400 to let's say $20,000 a month. That's life-changing money. So high ticket sales is pretty much a skill set that allows you to make $10,000 a month. So the original term is a high ticket skill set. A high ticket skill set is a skill set that allows you to make $10,000 a month or more. High ticket sales is where you work for, you're in the sales position, or you work for another person in their business. So let's give me as an example, because we have salespeople, right? You would work under me as a sales rep, and you would close deals that, and you'd get paid 10% of that. So for example, there's Tony Robinson has a program that's $75,000, right? Nehemiah Davis has a program that's $55,000. I've invested in the $55,000 one. I haven't invested in Tony Robbins, but their sales rep that closed me on that made $5,500 from that deal. So a sales rep would get paid 10% of whatever that they closed. That's what a sales rep job is to do, is to close a deal, is to convert new business. Okay. So when I say high ticket sales, the job is for them to work. Your job is to work under another person that has an offer that's at least $2,000, right? And you get paid 10% of whatever you close, right? I like 5,000, but you can make money off 2,000, because if they book your calendar up, let's say with six calls a day, usually you want to be at like a 30% close rate or conversion rate, right? So I believe that's like two. Let's say you close 2 a day, and it's a $2,000 offer, right? $2,000 offer. That's $200. That's $400 a day. $400 a day. Let's say you work 5 days a week. 400 times 5 days. That's $2,000. That's $2,000 a week. Times 4 weeks. That's $8,000 a month. You see how this math works? That's what high ticket sales does. That's only if you close 2 out of the 6. That means you're only working 2 hours of the day, because the sales call is usually an hour long. You work 2 hours a day and made $200. I'm sorry, $400. That's what high ticket sales does, right? And so that's my point. This is literally what I did, y'all. I'm not making this up. This is what I did. I was a server. I went to become a bartender, and then I went to high ticket sales, and I created my own business, right? But the point is that I learned a skill set. That's the point. If you're wanting to become an asset, if you're wanting to put assets in your business, you have to increase your skill set. So let's talk about mindset. Mindset is different. A lot of people on here are probably like, Marcus, you have never made $100,000 in a month in your life. You're lying. You're capping. I'm hopping off this live as soon as possible. It's because you have a limiting belief. That's not my fault. You just don't believe that you can make more money. If other people can make hundreds of millions of dollars, why can't you? It's a limiting belief. So when it comes to mindset, you need to break limiting beliefs. You need to break them. Break limiting beliefs. Whatever beliefs that you have about something, you need to break them. I doubt everything. Like most of the time, most of the things, like for example, credit, y'all. We were taught to cut your credit cards. Cut them up. Don't use them. Don't go to college and spend your credit. That is the dumbest decision that has ever been given. If anything, they should have told us and educated us on how exactly to use credit. That's what they should have did. But that's a limiting belief. A limiting belief is you got to work a job, is the 40-40-40 rule. Work a job for 40 years. Work a job for 40 hours for 40 years and only get paid 40% of your money, pension, aka Social Security. And now your SOL, they don't even do 401. They're not even going to do 401ks anymore. I don't even trust 401ks when it comes to businesses anyway. You should always have an individual 401k or an IRA, unless your job does rollovers or convertible 401ks, which allows you to convert it individually. But no matter what, this rule of the 40-40-40 rule is a limiting belief. Why exactly would I work for 40 years? Because I get this is what's crazy. This is what's crazy. Y'all, you all are going to be millionaires. You are. You're going to be millionaires. The question is, would you rather make it in a lifetime or in a year? That's the question of the day, right? Would you rather make it in a lifetime or in a year? Would you rather pass down the wealth of $1 million when you die, or would you rather pass down $1 million next year or this year? That's the question of the day. So it's a matter of the mindset. It's the point of switching your mindset to believe something different. Look, y'all, I'm not teaching anything new. Stuff that I'm telling you right now has existed for hundreds of years. This is new information. Trusts was established when King Charles was literally uh fighting years of wars. That's when they created trusts. Was back in the medieval times. That's when trust was established, right? So you got to get the skill set right. You got to increase your skill set. You have to break limiting beliefs, doubt everything that you hear. And then you got to get the tool set. Okay? That's implementation. The tool set is where we come in, right? Because obviously you don't have the tools, right? So we come in and we help you with the tools. So if you all are actually wanting to build generational wealth, if you're wanting to get your trust together, if you have this is who this is for. This is for people, these are for families that are working a 9-to-5 job. These are for families that are entrepreneurs. These are for people who are ready to quit their 9-to-5 job and stop living paycheck to paycheck. These are for entrepreneurs that are wanting to pass something down because they got something good for themselves, or they're about to have something good for themselves. This is for y'all. If you all want to learn the tool set and be able to actually get the trust in order so you can get your estate planning, because this is the crazy part, right? This is the crazy part. I'm gonna break this down, right? I'm gonna break this down. When you pass away and you don't have this in order, this is what's gonna happen. This is what's gonna happen, right? Your family is gonna have to deal with the funeral. Your family's gonna have to deal with probate, and then it's gonna have to deal with family. Why is that? Why is that? If you don't have your estate in order, the government will make sure that your estate is in order, and it's not going to be in your favor. We literally had a mentee that came in with $1 million, and the reason why they came to us is because they just got out of the situation after 5 years of probation. After 5 years of probate, they came in with $1 million after the court fees, legal fees, all the fees, and all that taxes that came off. Left them with 200,000. Left them with 200,000. In between that time, half of their family was no longer talking to each other because they couldn't decide on who wanted to own what. Then they couldn't even afford the funeral because all the money was in probate. So everybody had to come out of pocket. It's sad. Do you get what I'm saying? So the tool set is that you need to get an irrevocable trust to get this handled. Because a will is going to make you go to probate still. A revocable trust, if you get sued, they're going to take everything that you have because you own it. Your name is, you're considered the owner. So you need to get an irrevocable trust. That's the tool set. That's the tool set. So if you all are wanting to learn exactly how to get an irrevocable trust, if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, comment the word legacy, and I want to personally help you all. I want to break down the tool set. I want to help you all get to the next level. I'm not here to play games. I want to help you all out. Because back in 2020, when my father passed, we were entitled trust fund babies, and we blew all the money because of lack of education. And that's what's going to happen to y'all if y'all do half of everything that you're going to do by yourselves without guidance. You're going to get it. You're going to get a trust. I promise you. It's not that you're not going to get a trust. You're going to get a trust. 100% you're going to get a trust. It's most likely going to be a revocable living trust. It's not going to be an irrevocable trust, because an irrevocable trust usually, for when you go to a trust attorney, it usually is about 20 to 30,000. Usually starts at 5, depending on the person, depending on how complex it is, right? So you're going to get a trust. You're going to go to lawdepot.com or Rocket Lawyer. You're going to try to get you a revocable living trust. It's going to be a simple trust. It's going to be basic. If someone slips and someone sues you, because here's the thing, you're going to get sued one day. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So the question is, what are you going to do? So if you are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, comment the word legacy, allow us to help you out. I want to be able to talk about your number one goal, your number one, your biggest struggles. And I want to be able to break this down in way more details to assist you all in building generational wealth. I want to get this in order for you all. The estate planning is important because if you're not going to do it, the government's not going to be in your favor. And your family's not either. This is for y'all family. Okay? So you want to make sure that those things are in order. If you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever, go ahead and click the link in the description, and then my team will reach out to you. I want to be able to help you guys out. I'm not playing any games right now. I gave y'all information that people don't tell you about because we know what we're doing. So if you want to learn this skill set, I highly suggest you all comment the word legacy. It is something that we are heavily taking serious. We have impacted over 200 families. We've built 68 trustees, families that have now finished their trust. Do you get what I'm saying? We have literally impacted so many people, and we want to impact you all as well. So if you all want this assistance, if you all want this game, go ahead, DM me or comment the word legacy. I'm going to take you all to the next level. People that want to stay where they're at, stay where you're at. It is what it is. I don't want to help people that don't want to get help. I only want to talk to people that want to be able to change their lives, that want to get the tool set, that want to actually take their families to the next level. It doesn't matter if you have a family or you don't. It starts with you. You can use your friends. It doesn't matter who it is. We want to make sure that you all are taken to the next level no matter what the case. Okay? So hopefully this helps y'all. I wanted to give y'all this game. This was good. I enjoyed the live. I wanted to make sure I gave y'all live. I was supposed to go live Friday, but life was lifing. But I was like, I gotta go live today. I gotta go live today. I gotta give value to the people. Okay, I gotta give value to the people. So I appreciate y'all. TikTok. This is my first time going live on here. Hopefully y'all got some value. I appreciate y'all for hopping on. And Instagram, thank y'all. Let me go ahead and DM y'all right now for the people that are on Instagram. Right? I'm gonna DM y'all to make sure y'all get this information, and I will see you all in the next one, y'all. Y'all think I'm playing? Peace out.